yes, but you're behind now in the popular vote.
I don't buy that.
Is it worth the risk?
I don't think anybody's more qualified to be president or win this race than me.
As you see there, President Biden touting his qualifications for office, but fellow Democrats are not so sure.
And just moments ago, moderate lawmaker Angie Craig added her name to the growing list of House Democrats to call on Biden to step aside, as party leaders plan to meet today and tomorrow to discuss the fate of the president.
Here to react, Fox News contributor Tammy Bruce. Tammy, I think what's so insidious about this is the 5 people on that list and the senator and the others that are coming out have not learned anything new. They're just worried now that they're going to lose.
That is exactly it. So that's kind of, this is a mini layered onion. That is the first layer. If Joe Biden, he's been like this. Again, this is not some new revelation. And the only difference is that nobody really knew so that he could win. Right? They kept him hidden, and they expected to be able to do the same thing, right? They were just going to hide him somehow. It's a hubris when you get something and it's an accidental win. Then you just think really highly of yourself, and that's, of course, another problem. But so they're thinking, oh, we can do this again. They know what they've had. We saw that with their behavior in 2020. And now, of course, what they didn't expect, and that's why they're not prepared, is for Donald Trump to survive. Oh, my gosh, he's indicted. He's a felon. I'm for the outlaw. And this is the underestimation of the American people when we see inherent unfairness against anyone. That is, I think, the core. Now, we're in the 4th of July weekend. That's why the country exists, was because of unfairness with a monarchy that would crush people who did not conform. And here we are. We're still a young country. We're puppies. We're puppies, and we still don't like it, and we're not going to like it forever. And this is how detached the Democratic Party is. So they thought, well, it's not going to matter if people learn that, he's out of it, because Donald Trump's going to be in prison, and Americans are going to hate him, and it was all a delusion. And that's why this is the other layer. That's why the country's a disaster. It's why the world is at war. It's why the bad guys can do whatever they want. It's why ISIS is in the United States. ISIS is rebuilding. Hezbollah and Hamas, Jew hatred. Everything is spilling over because of this framework that now is destroying, finally, the Democratic Party.
Do these calls matter? I want to read what Angie Craig said from Minnesota, one of the members of Congress that has asked him to step aside. She said, as an elected leader, I feel a responsibility to be honest about what I believe, even when it's hard to hear. President Biden is a good man, and I appreciate his lifetime of service, but I believe he should step aside for the next generation of leadership. The stakes are too high. We also know that Senator Warner is working on a coalition of senators to call on him to step down. So, I mean, at what point does that become inescapable for him, Joe Biden?
Well, first of all, it does have to be his decision because he's won the primaries, right? He has the count that he needs. He is the president. The fact, 2 things this shows you is that there's no communication inside the White House. They're having to do this publicly, which is interesting in and of itself. The New York Times, normally they'd have a direct line into the White House, have to do opinion pieces and an editorial saying step down. So this shows you the chaos, the lack of communication between, the Pravda of the United States and their boss, which is the Democratic Party. So there's a constant disconnects. But more than that, they're worried about the down ballot. So this is a way to separate themselves from Biden for their own races that may be coming up. So they've made a statement. It's like, if you think Biden should go, so do I. And they're hoping that people won't vote down a ticket. But the fact is, and they're trying to separate themselves from the chaos. It's late for that. They've accepted this from the beginning because it worked. And they lied to the American people because it worked. And now it's this convenient thing. And that's why I think the Bidens are a little perplexed and maybe even mad, is that they agreed to do this. And Jill Biden agreed, we have to presume, knowing the condition of her husband, trusting the people that did this. And now under the bus he goes because the grand plan of, crushing Donald Trump, boy, talk about underestimating a man, did not work.
I don't think the mainstream media will do this because I don't think the integrity is real. But today there's some integrity being echoed. You heard there, even from that Democratic Congresswoman, I feel compelled to be honest. It is my responsibility. And Joey makes the right point. Why weren't you honest last month, last week?
Correct.
Those questions.
Because they're losing now.
But I think, Tammy, those questions turn to Kamala at some point. If she's the nominee, she has to answer why were you dishonest about Joe Biden?
Right.
Because she's been a primary water carrier.
Well,
for
and
6 months about his competency.
She's in the same building, at least. We know from her history and major, New York Times, other major coverage of her inability to keep staff, the fact that she does not communicate with the Oval Office, that she is a difficult person to work with, that there's just no cohesiveness. And we've seen that happen. Staff members leaving and talking openly about how horrible she treats people. And people forget that. That's that person. And I think that for Harris, everyone who surrounds him has to be answerable to this. But
Yes.
they're still trying to pretend that, oh my God, we're shocked. It's like, God forbid you. I had no idea that there was, gambling in this facility. Of course you knew. Of course you knew. And that's another part of the lie. Republicans, I think we're clear that Republicans know that this is important, and the American people have finally figured it out.
Because it's a national security risk.
Clearly.
I would
We know
ask.
that she likes Venn diagrams.
Right.
I would ask you another question on this, but you know what? People can hear more of your thoughts on this and between us tonight on the Big Weekend
That's
Show.
right. The Big Weekend Show, Saturday, tonight at 7 o'clock.
There you go.
Looking forward to it.
We'll see you in just a little bit there. All right.
Excellent.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.